So, good day. The next topic for the Unit 2 is classification of crops. We are going to tackle about first, the system of classification. Second, the general classification of crops. Third is classification of crops based on purpose. And last is the special groups. First, system of classification. So we have three systems of classification. First, the artificial system. Second is the natural system. And the third is phylogenetic system. So what is artificial system? It is based on convenience in which a structure or feature serves as a basis of grouping. How about the natural system? It uses the most prominent and most peculiar morphological structure of the plant with the intention of grouping together those crops which are most familiar in a number of structures. And last, phylogenetic systems or plants are classified according to their evolutionary status. So what is artificial system? So known as the artificial systems of plant classification, which it consists of four eminent botanists contributed to these systems. First, we have Theophrastus in 370 to 287 before Christ. So the year before Christ is known. So he classified the plants into four groups. First, the herbs. Second is undershrub. Third is the shrubs. And fourth is the trees. He described and named about 480 plants and published his work in Historia Plantarum, known as the oldest botanical work in existence. Second, the botanist number 2 is the C. Gulay. He initially proposed his classification in Methodus Plantarum Nova, another book. So later on, he represented his classification in Historia Plantarum in 3 volumes. Third is Carolus Linnaeus, which is the father of modern botany because of his contribution to the botanical structures and taxonomical of plants. So he published his works in different times since 1730 to final form in 1753, which consists the 7 books. So fourth is George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker's system. So they are both the British botanists who were associated with the Royal Botanic Garden in Kew, England. So they worked together for about 25 years and jointly published their work in Genera Plantarum in 3 volumes again. How about the natural system? So these systems are based upon overall resemblances, mostly in gross morphology, so thus utilizing as many taxonomic character as possible to group taxa. So you know already who is Charles Darwin, because he is known for the theory of evolution. So he postulates that the present-day plants have descended from those existing in the ancient past through a series of modifications in response to changing environment conditions, which means that all present-day plants are related to each other in a way or another. So thus, the closely related plants should naturally be grouped together. And thus, the larger the number of characters shared by different taxa, the more closely related they are to each other. So this is the basis of modern classification. So how about phylogenetic system? So, Linnaeus classified organisms based on obvious physical traits. Basically, organisms were grouped together if they look alike. So after Darwin published his theory of evolution in the 1800s, scientists looked for a way to classify organisms that showed phylogeny. So what is phylogeny? Phylogeny is the evolutionary history of a group of related organisms, and it is represented by a phylogenetic tree that shows how species are related to each other through common ancestors. So we have here the species 1, species 2, species 3. So if species 1 and species 2 connected together, they have common ancestors of 1 and 2, and combined again for the species number 3. So the common ancestors will be 1, 2, and 3 for the next generation. So we have second topic will be general classification of crops. So first is the according to growth habit. First is the herbs. So they are succulent and has self-supporting stem, like tawa-tawa or the asthma plant, the yerba buena or the mint, the oregano, and the mayana. Second is the vines. So they are succulent or woody plants without self-supporting stems, like tomatoes, squash, mostly cucurbits, vines, cucumber, chayote, and watermelon. And third is the shrubs. May have several main branches with no trunk and rarely grows higher than 5 meters, like pineapple and banana. Then fourth is the trees, with single central stem to which branches are attached, usually taller than the shrub. Which is apple, coconut, and lanzones and different other fruits. The second will be according to life cycle. First, the annuals, which complete their cycle in 1 year or less. Examples are squash or the cucurbits. Second are the biennials. Plants ordinarily require 2 years or at least part of 2 growing seasons, with a dormant period between growth stages to complete their life cycles, like carrot, cabbage, and celery. While the perennials are plants that do not die after flowering but live from year to year, like the asparagus, the horseradish tree or the malunggay, the moringa, like the blueberries, blackberries, the raspberries, strawberries, grapes, lemon, lime, peach, mandarin, banana, and papaya. So they are perennials. So we have 3 according to life cycles again, the annuals, the biennials, and the perennials. How about the according to mode of reproduction? So we have 2. First is the sexual reproduction and second is the asexual reproduction. So what is sexual reproduction? So plants that develop after undergoing processes of meiosis and fertilization in the flower to produce a viable embryo in the seed. So it needs a pollen grain attached and connected to the ovary of the another flower to produce the fruit. How about the asexual reproduction? Plants that are produced by any vegetative means that involving meiosis and the union of gametes. So with the help of marketing, the layering, the air layering, the ground layering, the separations, grafting, and budding. while the sexual reproduction is use seeds to grow another plants. And the fourth is the special types. First is the parasites, which consist of parasitic sucking roots like the balete. Okay? Examples again is the Rafflesia balete, which smells like rotten meat. Second is the epiphytes, grow upon other plants like orchids but not parasitic. So they did not absorb nutrients from the attached plants or the attached dead trees or trunks, because they only absorb nutrients from the air and the moist from the air. So examples are orchids. And the third is the saprophytes, which grows in places rich in decaying organic substances, which number one, because of the acidic, because fungi is acid loving. Once again, fungi is the acid loving pathogen, which the decayed substances emits acid. So therefore, fungi grows well. So we have another topic, the classification of crops based on purpose. Next, we have cereal, grains, and crops, which is grown for their grains, like rice and corn, the wheat and corn, the rice and sorghum. So these pictures represents the harvested one. After cleaning, first the sorghum, the rice, the corn, and the wheat. Second are legumes or pulses. So their crops belongs to the legume family, which are string beans, lentils, and peas. Also includes peanuts and other beans. Third is root crops and bulb crops. So crops with swollen underground stem or roots, like sweet potato and onion, gabi, carrot, and radish. Which is the root crop is the kamote, sweet potato, and the gabi or the dashin, and the carrot and radish, while the onion are bulbs. Fourth are leafy vegetables. So they are crops grown mainly for their leaves, like petchay and alagbate, or the Malabar nightshade. Fifth are solanaceous crops, which is crops that belongs to the solanaceous or nightshade family, except white potato. Examples are eggplant, the pepper, the chili, and the tomato. So the sixth is cole crops or crucifers. Crops belongs to the crucifer family, like cabbage, cauliflower, and broccoli. So same as brassica. Brassica oleracea, botrytis, capitata. Seventh are cucurbits. So their crops belongs to the cucurbits family, like squash, watermelon, cucumber, and bitter gourd or the ampalaya, which are they are also vines, so according to their growth habits. 8 are tree vegetables, so like horseradish tree or the malunggay or the moringa and the katuray. For the 9 are other crops, which is used and known for their for their horticulture uses, like sweet corn, the okra, and the asparagus. So for the fruits, fruits are the means by which angiosperms disseminate seeds. First, we have tree fruits, which are fruits borne on trees like mangoes and lanzones. Second will be nut fruits, which are fruits borne on trees but which are enclosed by a stony structure like cashew, pili, and almond. Third is the small fruits, which fruits not borne on trees and are smalls like strawberry, grapes, and pineapple. Fourth is the herbaceous fruits, which fruits not borne on trees but borne on plants with upright succulent supporting stem, like the banana and pineapple. And for the ornamentals, which classified according to their special uses based on the specific plant part, aesthetically valued, and on the form in which the plants are maintained or marketed. First is cat flowers, or the florist crops, which plants grown for their flowers, like anthurium, roses, and others. The daffodils, the tulips. Second is the cat foliage, or the florist greens, which plant whose foliage provides the backgrounds in floral arrangements like fern, palm, and asparagus. Okay, which is used in graduation, used as corsage. For the third is the flowering pot plants, which plants grown in container for their beautiful flowers, usually used for display purpose, like chrysanthemums, santan, and bougainvillea. Fourth is landscape plants, which are plants used for landscaping purposes. Almost all the ornamentals fall under this category. So, fifth are the foliage plants, which are plants grown for their attractive foliage and can tolerate low light intensities. So, pwede siya mabutang sa balay without too much sunlight needed. And last is the turf, which used in the sports field and used for lawns or the greens like Manila grass, Bermuda, or the grass for golf, which is known as the turf. Next, we have plantation crops, which are classified according to their usual components and may have different cultural practices, but their principal products can be substituted for one another. First, we have oil crops, which are grown for their oil content, like coconut for copra and oil palm for the palm oil. Second, fiber crops. They are grown for their fibers, which are used for textiles, cordage, pulp, paper, twines, sacks, bags, mats, decors, and others. We have abaca and maguey. Third are the beverage crops. They are used for brewing non-alcoholic drink like coffee, cacao, and tea. And for the fourth one, is spices, condiments, and essences, which are used to provide special flavors, scents, and colors to food. Perfumes, soaps, and body dressings like black pepper, the vanilla, and the canela. Fifth are the latexes and resins, which are crops produced of the sap, which is latex, top for the bark, or fruit peel or obtained rubber, like chico, papaya, pili, rimas, which are classified under fruit crops. And sixth are the medicinal and botanical pesticides, which are crops with curative or laxative and or pesticidal properties like bunga, the lagundi for the curative, and the neem for the pesticidal properties of these plants, which is used as pesticides. So now we're going to tackle the fourth topic, which is the special groups. So for the special groups, first we have green manure. So it is a crop that is plowed under while still green and growing to improve the soil like sesbania, or as in the Philippines we use as mongo, which when it reach its flowering stage, they're going to plowed and plowed to remain and give some nitrogen, because they produce too much nitrogen during the nitrogen fixation with the use of the bacteria, the rhizobia. Seconds are the cover crops. So any crop grown to provide soil cover and prevent soil erosion by wind or water, and improve soil and control weed like the centrosema. And also, we use Australian peanut for this as the cover crop. For the third, we have companion crops. So from the word companion, they need each other, or grow. They grow together. So crops sown with another crop and harvested separately. So the combination benefits either or both of the crops, like ipilipil planted with the black pepper. So fourth is the trop crop, a crop which is planted to protect the main crop from pests by attracting the pests to the crop itself and later destroying it. So the main crop is the rice, and the sweet potato is planted to trap some rats. So again, the rice is the main crop and the sweet potato is the trap crop, to divert the rats not to eat the rice but to eat the sweet potato. Fifth is the catch crop. So a short seasoned crop grown immediately after the failure of the main crop to utilize residual resources, which is the rice is the main crop but may have been destroyed by the typhoon before pechay or mustard, which is planted immediately. 6 is the soilage. So grasses that are grown, cut, and directly fed to animals. 7 is the silage, which are grasses grown, cut, fermented, and preserved before being fed to animals. So some of the places in the Philippines use a silage. They've preserved and fermented it during the dry season, which is have no weeds for the ruminants to be eaten. So, and thank you for watching.